Now, reports reaching Joy News indicates that the floods in the northern Ghana are gradually spilling over into the southern sector. According to Joy News Kojo Yankson, the Accra-Tamale road risks being heavily flooded, among other communities in the Savannah region, should there be heavy rains anytime soon. Well, let's cross over live to Kojo Yankson and his team, who have been in the north throughout the weekend to provide support for these flood victims. So, Kojo, what can you report from where you are currently? It seems we're having some challenges, hearing what exactly Kojo is saying.
Right, let's
yeah, you're clear now.
Can you hear me better now?
You're loud and clear, Kojo.
Fantastic. Now, the mood in these four regions up north, the upper east, the northeast, the northern and the Savannah region, is a mood of fear. People are very, very concerned that more rain will mean more damage. The flood water is moving further south, so it has already wreaked havoc in the northeast, in the upper east, and the northern regions. It is now moving into the Savannah region, where communities like Daboya, like Intereso, and Yape are seeing the rise of the level of the white voter. Now, in Yape, this is where the greatest danger is being anticipated. The water has risen to the level of the legendary, iconic Yape Bridge. This is a bridge that stands on pillars that are about 30, 40 feet high. The water has risen from the river all the way up 30, 40 feet, almost to the level of the road, of the bridge. Now, if we have more rain in the coming days, that bridge will be submerged. And with it, the road from Accra to Tamale will be cut off.
That sounds very troubling.
That many people in that community are concerned about.
That sounds very troubling. But where have you visited so far, and what kind of support have you been provided? We do know that so far we've had corporate entities like EcoBank support with 50,000 CDs. What else can we, say in regards to the support?
Right now, this campaign, the Up to Us campaign, is being spearheaded by the Super Morning Show and Joy FM as a whole, with great support from EcoBank. Now, we came into several communities in the northern region. We went to a place called Nawuni, where the members of the community have been moved out of their homes into a school. So this is now their temporary residence. There is no toilet facility. The rooms are very hot, and they are sleeping on the bare floor. So we've realized that there is a need for things like mattresses. There's a need for food because everybody has lost their livelihood with the flood. The fishermen, the farmers, they've lost their farms, they've lost their nets. So they can't feed themselves or their families. So they need food, they need mattresses, they need clothes. I met a woman who has been wearing the same clothes for a week because she lost everything else. So these are the things that are most needed. There are also communities like Afaire, where the people have been surrounded now by water. The entire community is now an island where people could walk or drive into the community. Now they are cut off from the rest of the world. And they are concerned because there are no boats. They are currently borrowing a fisherman's boat. So when he's working out on the water, they cannot enter or leave the community. So there is a need for aid to come to them in the form of transportation, whether it's a boat, whether it's some means of getting from their community into the rest of civilization. These are the things that are so badly needed. And all the money being raised by the Up to You campaign with EcoBank is going towards that. So again, we call on people to come to the aid of these people because if they are waiting for the state to step in, it might be too late.
This is virtually a humanitarian crisis there. Tell us about the weather and the rains at the moment in these areas.
I've got to tell you now, every time the wind starts to blow a little bit and the color of the sky changes, everybody gets nervous. In the fishing communities, they have actually now designated those who can go out into the water and those who cannot, because they believe that the weather can change so quickly. If there is an inexperienced person in a boat, they might drown. Okay, so everybody is taking precautions to protect themselves from the potential danger of further rain. I went into the Upper East region yesterday and I spoke to some farmers in Kualidu. Now they've lost everything. Now if you think about it, Charles, farmers usually gain a livelihood once or twice a year when they harvest. They have just lost their harvest. So it's pretty much like somebody who works for a living being told that they have lost their salary for a year. That's the situation they are faced with. A farmer told me that he dreads going home because all he sees around him are bills. His wife and children They need things that he can now no longer pay for because of the rain. Okay, so these are the things that they are calling for. They are saying that they want the state to bring them corn, beans, rice, oil, things that they can use to survive and feed their children. And it is ironic, Charles, that a corn farmer is asking the government to give him corn. That is how low this flood has sunk him and his colleagues.
Indeed. We do know that NADMO has been trying to help some victims. Have you come across any of their teams on your visits so far?
We did not come across NADMO in any of the communities we visited, but we know that they have been to some of them to do feasibility studies. And they say that they are having meetings to determine how they can come and help the people. So these meetings have been going on for over a week now, and the people are still waiting for the help to come. There are some communities where NADMO has been distributing buckets and mattresses. These are in the northeast region. Now, they were not there when we went to visit these communities, but we know they have been there, and they have given some of these supplies, mattresses and buckets. The people there are still calling and asking for food, for clothing, and basic things, especially, most importantly, to those who have been displaced. They want a plan. They want to know the plan for restoring their homes, because they cannot live in classrooms and sleep in tents forever, Charles.
Interesting. Let's talk about children and the vulnerable. I mean, the aged and the weak. Kojo, have you seen any, and how are they coping amidst this particular sort of crisis?
Charles, they are not doing well at all. In Nauni, where we first visited, we met an elderly lady who had to run from well, I say run, but this lady cannot really move very fast. She has a walking stick, and she had to hobble out of her home when the rain was breaking it down around her ears. So the community had to help her, and while she was carrying her grandchild on her back, they helped and ferried her and ushered her into the school. Now, she at the moment is weak. She can't really do much, and she's worried about the fact that she may not get the opportunity to ever return to her home. We met a little girl, I think she's about 6 years old, who had not eaten all day because there's nothing to eat. Now, if you think about it, just 20 Ghana cedis donation from somebody would make a world of difference to a little child like that. And let's not forget that there are children among the dead. There's a 3-year-old girl who was washed away when the Bagre Dam spilled in the Upper East region. She went out to play at a friend's house. She tried to make her way home. She didn't make it. She's dead, and she was only 3. So the vulnerable, of course, they are the ones who are at highest risk when natural disasters like this happen. And the longer we wait to go to their aid, the more of them we are going to lose. And our society, of course, is always judged by how they treat their most vulnerable.
I can imagine. So where are you headed now, and how are the roads? Have you been, the kind of roads are you accessing currently? How are they?
Well, for the worst of the roads, we've really had to cross them with canoes. The roads don't exist anymore. It's water. It's a river that is there in place of the road. At the moment, I'm currently in Tamale. We're about to head to the airport because we are done with our visit. So Tamale is fine. The roads here are absolutely fine. We'll make it very safely to the airport. But there are people in outlying communities who cannot leave their homes because the road is just not there anymore. Instead, there's a river.
Just before you leave, Kojo, share with me the Canoe experience. How interesting or scary was it for you? Yeah.
It's strange. When you're in a canoe, it's the most peaceful, serene experience. The boat glides across the water as if there is nothing to disturb you. But when you look around, you realize that those bushes that you see around you are not bushes. They are the tops of trees, very tall trees. But the water has risen to the point where you are now gliding along, and you have eye contact with the highest leaves on these trees. It is the strangest, most disconcerting experience to be sailing on a road that people used to walk on. But that's reality. Right now, swathes of land have disappeared under torrents of water. And the fear is that there is more to come.
Kojo Yankson, I'm so grateful that you joined us and you shared with us the entire horrid situation in which most of the residents in the northern region are facing following the spillage of the Bagre Dam. He shall be giving us more stories and more telling revelations on how the residents there are coping. Many thanks once again, Kojo Yankson, for that report. Well, away from that, the Ghana Police Service is this morning embarking on a route march on some